he introduced and sponsored a resolution to rename a portion of Calhoun Street after the Emanuel 9. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I sit down with mayoral candidate and city councilman William Dudley Gregorie. Dudley.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, doing just great.
Good.
Let me refresh your memory. It was, again, a rainy Sunday afternoon on August 30th, and you and I were in attendance for the Edison District tribute to the Emanuel 9 at your beloved mother, Emanuel.
Yes, we were.
And, as you know, Governor Haley and Clyburn, Congressman Jim Clyburn, State Senator Marlon Quintin, and Charleston Mayor Joe Raleigh were also there, along with the members of the victims of the Emanuel 9. Tell me, because I haven't seen you since then, how are you?
Incredible.
Yes.
Life is good.
Yes, indeed.
Lost my brother recently.
Oh, no.
But we'll be fine.
Wow.
Yes, and he would want me to move forward and keep this going.
Well, tell me your memories of him.
Oh, my God. Where do I begin? He taught me most of what I know. He was my confidant.
Okay.
Yes.
And how would you remember him as far as if you become mayor of Charleston?
We'll think about that.
Yeah.
He'll be with me for the rest of my life anyway.
Yeah.
And it's a personal thing.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
But let's rewind time to last night, because you and the other Charleston mayoral candidates actually participated in the 2015 mayoral candidate text mixer forum. First, tell me, as far as performance, what letter grade would you give yourself?
I didn't participate.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't participate because my brother died about 4 o'clock yesterday evening. So, family first.
Yes.
But there was someone there in my stead. But as for the tech industry, the digital corridor, as a city council member, I've been a part of the vision to create Flagship 1, Flagship 2, and hopefully when I become mayor, we'll complete Flagship 3 along Morrison Drive, because I did support our purchase of the land to develop it, because I think that creating a knowledge-based economy in the city of Charleston is paramount to our future of developing Silicon Harbor.
Yeah. And one person who wasn't at the mayoral candidate forum, that is, along with you, was Tankler. As you know, he recently dropped out of the race. And he said something very telling on Facebook, quote, "Supporters, friends, and people of Charleston, after considerable thought and much discussion with my family and close friends, I announce today that I am ending my campaign and withdrawing my candidacy for mayor of Charleston." When you heard that, or when you read that, you said what?
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of deep respect for former Councilman Tankler, and what he brought to the dialogue of our forums and our debates. It added a lot of substance. So he will be missed. But as most of us know, you've got to put family first.
Yes,
and
indeed.
I think that's what he's doing.
Speaking of which, the Emanuel Way. The Charleston City Council passed a resolution just this past Tuesday to rename Calhoun Street from Meeting Street down to South Carolina Aquarium right here in honor of the Emanuel 12. Obviously, that took place because of the tragedy that happened down the street here. You said this to Channel 2 just recently, quote, "I think it's a great symbolism, and it's a great way for the city, as well as the state and the country, to show that the Holy City wants to make sure that this event is never ever forgotten throughout the state." I'm curious, what did you tell yourself when the resolution was passed?
Well, first of all, I introduced the resolution and wrote the resolution. I felt that history was being made, that we would permanently place a mark on this city so that the world would never forget. Not 12, but 15, 14. We oftentimes forget that there were 2 survivors. Our First Lady.
Oh, yes.
And the daughter who hid out at the desk.
Oh, yeah.
So they're not 12, they're 14.
Okay.
There were 5 survivors.
Wow.
So for me, as a trustee of the church, as a city council member, I felt that I was chosen to do something to honor and memorialize what happened in 17th.
Yeah.
But it's not just for the Emanuel 9 of the survivors, but it's also for a very, very strong congregation.
Yes, yes.
And I feel that this Mother Emanuel Way district will go far toward the healing process. We're still going through the forgiveness period,
yes.
And you cannot heal until you fully forgive. So I do think that the Mother Emanuel Way district will be a blessing for the city. And hopefully as people drive through it,
right,
they will feel the blessings. Because if you translate Mother Emanuel Way,
right,
it's translated into Mother, God is with us way. Because Emmanuel means God
That's
is
true.
with us.
That is true.
So there was a method to the madness by attaching way in there so that people who travel through by car
right,
or by walk, that they will feel the blessings of God as Mother Emanuel Way flows into Freedom Square,
right,
Liberty Square,
that's right,
and eventually to the International African American Museum.
yeah.
So there was some thought that went into the name and the place.
And speaking of thought, when did you know that the resolution would be one of the ideal ways of honoring the Emanuel 15?
Well, I had discussions with council members, as well as the mayor, as well as our acting pastor, Elder Goff, and told them about my idea. They all supported it overwhelmingly. And as a result of that, when I was able to introduce it in City Council, it passed unanimously.
Wow. And June 17th obviously started it all. You said this on June 17th at 11:58 p.m. This unbelievable tragedy at Mother Emanuel.
Yes.
Touches not only my church family, but also my relatives. We ask for your prayers as a church, city, and an agency comfort. Tell me, when you go back to June 17th, how did your date start, and how did it obviously end?
June 17th really started around 9 o'clock when I got the call.
Yeah.
I just happened to be on the phone arguing with my mother about something, but my phone kept ringing off the hook,
yeah,
and text messages, and that's when it started. I immediately left the house,
right,
and came down to the church and went to the command center to try to gather as much information as I can. But at that point, I knew that our members, our flock, were probably killed, massacred. And so we were there until about 4:30.
Wow.
The next morning,
right,
with the coroner,
yeah,
as the families identified the dead. And from that day forward, life has never been the same for me or for Emanuel AME Church. For me, the most important thing was to make sure that our city did not go in flames or in riots. So again, I felt that I was chosen to be the voice, to go all over the world with our story of forgiveness and healing.
And let's go back to the Days of Grace, because you said the following on Facebook on September 5th. My church family and I thank you, Charleston, for these days of grace. But don't forget that the work is not over. This is just the beginning. So let me ask you the obvious. What's next?
Well, I think that there is a need for us as a city, a state, and a country to continue a dialogue on race and race relations. I don't think that what happened on June 17th can go without some kind of social action, some kind of economic equity, education for our children, and I am planning an event June 17th of 2016, of which a resolution was also passed. And I want that event to be a celebration, but I also want it to be a means for us to have the kind of dialogue as a city, state, and a country to see how we will address the kinds of hate issues that are still pretty pervasive in our country.
Describe to me the following one word: climate.
Climate?
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Cruise industry.
An important economic engine.
I-526.
Completed.
Energy.
We must find alternative ways of energy. And as the past chairman of the Sustainability Advisory Committee, we were able to move forward resolutions for wind and for energy to try and make sure that we have alternative sources of energy.
Sergeant Jasper.
A park, green space.
Do you really envision that after all that they've been doing with the beach company?
Well, no, I don't envision that, but that would be the ideal. That it would become green space. It would be great if the city and the owners can somehow come together and perhaps do a land swap, or if the land swap is available, and allow the beach company to build, but at the same time returning that space to green space, so that everyone in the city would be able to enjoy it.
Crosstown flooding.
I don't know of anything other than the Septima Clark Parkway flooding.
Right.
And if that's what you're referring
to.
I think that once we have completed the Septima Parkway drainage project, it will have a very positive effect on the parkway. In addition to addressing maybe 20% of the flooding problems on the peninsula, we have to move forward with more projects, drainage projects, in order to eradicate some of the drainage problems, not just on the peninsula, but all over the city of Charleston.
The battle to renovate Mother Emanuel.
I don't see it as a battle at all. I see it as a responsibility of the current stewards to make sure that the icon Mother Emanuel will last for another 200 years. And I think we're well on our way to making that happen. We've already completed one engineering study. The elevator will probably open sometime next week. And we have completed the renovation of 3 of our projects, and now we're going to be concentrating on the sanctuary, all of which were all part of the vision of Reverend Quintin. And I think if we can complete his vision, that our church will go far toward being a sustaining church, and a church that could last for all times.
November 3rd.
November 3rd, I will be elected the next mayor of the city of Charleston.
William Dudley Gregorie, thank you so much for your time as always.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate that. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Anytime.